Asian Americans now make up 41% of Harvard's freshman class after affirmative action ended from 29.9% to 41%. Supporters say the shift shows a fairer process. Critics fear underrepresented groups are losing opportunities. So I'm going to share with you some of this conversation and read out comments, starting with my own. The underrepresentation of other ethnic minorities in Harvard almost balances out against our underrepresentation in Hollywood and basketball. Then he says to me, you should also bring up the centuries of systemic racism, I knew that was coming, and violence against black men from slavery to the modern day school to prison pipeline, prison to. It always comes down to that, doesn't it? Even though I myself am a content creator, I often find myself getting deeply embroiled in arguments with random strangers in the comment section of other people's posts. Just like everybody else, I'll often be scrolling my Instagram feed and then I'll stop on a post that makes me think, and I look at the comment section and then I'm like, no, I have to have my say. And then before you know it, you get yourself in an argument, right? Somebody comes back at you and you have to defend yourself against their stupid accusation. And so that's what happened recently when I came across this post on the subject of DEI. It's a post from an account called Rebel Yellow, which is a left-leaning Asian American account focusing on discrimination against Orientals. And the headline is, Asian Americans now make up 41% of Harvard's freshman class. New numbers show a major shift after affirmative action ended. And they go on to share some stats. Asian American enrollment climbed rapidly in the last 2 years from 29.9% in the class of 2027 to 41% in the class of 2029. Other groups saw a sharp decline. So black enrollment went from 14% down to 11.5% in that time, and Hispanic enrollment from 16% to 11%, the steepest drop of any racial group. And the next slide reads, a divided reaction. Supporters say the shift shows a fairer process. Critics fear underrepresented groups are losing opportunities. And the final slide reads, part of a national trend. At top schools nationwide, Asian American shares rising, black enrollment falling. Princeton's black enrollment hits its lowest since 1968. So this led to quite a debate in the comment section, and I imagine it didn't go quite as they expected because, as I mentioned earlier on, this is a left-leaning account that focuses on discrimination against us Orientals. But in this instance, what it revealed was that we were being discriminated against by the system. And what these statistics show is that since Trump got into office and took action against these unfair DEI practices, the barrier to entry for all of us Orientals has been lifted, and our rates have gone shooting back up as they were before. So all the conservative Asian Americans who've been denouncing these DEI practices that reduced our admissions rates are championing what Trump has done, and they all entered the chat. So I'm going to share with you some of this conversation and read out comments, starting with my own. The underrepresentation of other ethnic minorities in Harvard, and by that I'm talking about the Black and Latino population, because their representation has gone down as Asian representation has gone back up. The underrepresentation of other ethnic minorities in Harvard almost balances out against our underrepresentation in Hollywood and basketball, right? Us Orientals may be overrepresented in Harvard because we are academically gifted, but we are underrepresented in Hollywood and in basketball, among many other areas. So someone called Nabi Anastasia Choi, who appears to be a man, but he identifies as they, them, came back at me with this comment: "It's pathetic how sold out to the white man you are." It always comes down to that, doesn't it? So I replied to them, or it in the singular, "I think you need to go back to school." Then Ji Tae Park, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, Korean. His bio says physics PhD candidate with a PharmD. PharmD? P-H-A-R-M. Oh, like a PhD in pharma. Oh dear. He is the problem. Those of you who've been following me for some time know that I have a deep aversion to people who hold PhDs in pharma. Anyway, he says to me, "How on earth are they the same thing?" So let's backtrack. He's referring to my comment that the underrepresentation of other ethnic minorities in Harvard almost balances out against our underrepresentation in Hollywood and basketball. So I replied to PharmaD, "I didn't say they're the same thing. My point is that those who complain about Black and Latino people being underrepresented in Harvard, as mentioned in this post, need to understand that East Asians are academically gifted, and our parents push us especially hard to be lawyers and accountants, etc. Meanwhile, Jewish people are overrepresented in media and Black people in basketball and running." Right? Facts. That's all I'm saying. So Korean Farmer D comes back at me. "There are many social factors that contribute to the underrepresentation of various groups in different sectors. However, just like Asians are not inherently worse in playing basketball, you cannot say Black people are inherently academically challenged," and in brackets, indirectly by saying that East Asians are academically gifted, or that their parents do not push their kids to excel academically. Any loving parents who value education do. So I replied, "We're not inherently worse at basketball, but we're generally shorter and not pushed as hard in sports. And do you honestly believe that Black parents push their kids academically as hard as the money-obsessed Chinese? Do you also know the percentage of absentee fathers in the African American population? Yes, I absolutely agree. There are many societal factors reflected in the Harvard figures, and we shouldn't shy away from discussing them." Then Korean Farmer D gets all high and mighty on me. "Have you ever interacted with Black parents? That they don't push their kids hard enough academically itself is a preconceived notion derived from racism. I know plenty of African American stroke Black parents who are serious about education as much as we are. Now, as you also alluded to, various socioeconomic factors can get in the way. If you're gonna bring up the classic absent Black fathers argument, then you should also bring up the centuries of systemic racism," I knew that was coming, "and violence against Black men from slavery to the modern day school to prison pipeline," prison too, "and hence precisely why we need affirmative action." So I replied, "I do indeed know many very successful and academically gifted Nigerians in London who come from families who push them hard in education, but that's it. I don't know any academically oriented Jamaicans. And I am connected with many conservative African Americans who are also very academic, and they get called Uncle Toms for it." So yes, it's great that we are having this discussion about systemic racism and how white liberalism maintains the oppressive status quo. Oh, and here's a really good attack underneath my comment from someone called Krieger Knapp, whose bio says, "Follow the adventures of Krieger the Dober Dork and Mighty Napoleon around the universe." They're a couple of dogs. Shut your banana ass up. A banana is what we Orientals call westernized Asian Americans. Yellow on the outside, white on the inside. And it says, "Shut your banana ass up." And then in all caps, "You wish so bad that you were white. You're so," with many O's, "pathetic." Why do these boba libtards always resort to this lame-ass wish you were white nonsense. When in fact, they are usually the ones who wish they were white, right? They are so afraid of being othered. They think they're the same as white people. And when Caucasians ask them where they're from, they freak out. They're like, what do you mean, where am I from? I'm from LA. I'm just as American as you. Where are you from? Do you know what I mean? Because they're so ashamed of their heritage. And meanwhile, they can't even speak their mother tongue, most of these people. Then I came across this really long comment from someone whose username is a new coalition. And when I see that someone has written an essay, I have to read it to see what they have to say because they really poured their heart into it, right? Whether I agree or disagree with them, I just want to know. So they say, no matter what your race, I do not go by someone's test scores or what they say about themselves as proof of their intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not something that can be measured like how standardized tests have attempted to measure and define intelligence. Success looks different for everyone. Someone may have all the material successes, work at a big four firm, and still feel empty and unfulfilled inside. Their relationships may be lacking of true substance. The entire system of social economic class is to pit us against each other with such attempts to neatly quantify abstract and fluid human concepts such as intelligence and success. As someone who didn't make it into the top schools, but still ended up very happy and grateful with the schools I got into, I learned that happiness doesn't lie in attending schools with extremely competitive environments. Everyone is different. Certain professions like law, medicine, aerospace engineering, etc. do rely more on the prestige of a school due to the highly specialized and dense nature of those disciplines. Other people would do well in their personal finances and personal fulfillment to attend community college and slowly find a job that they enjoy while also being good at it. Hallelujah! You may not have got into a top school, but you didn't need it because you have top brains. So my reply to this person was, I totally agree with this. People get so upset over representation in top universities, but that life is not for everyone. Not to mention the most educated people today are the most indoctrinated and fearful. I was very academically gifted in my youth and I worked in accountancy, civil service and media, but I dropped out of the rat race and I'm happiest now at 53 as a poor lazy sod without a pot to piss in, but having freedom. And then a new coalition replies back to me, hey, I've seen you pop up on my feed before. Thanks for reading my very long comment, lol. And I'm glad to see an older Asian. Oh, I'm an older Asian now. I know it was so hard to come to terms with this, but I love it now. I'm uncle. Thanks for reading my very long comment, lol. And I'm glad to see an older Asian happily enjoying the life outside of what our elders and society deem as the good life. Yes, I really enjoyed reading your very long comment, and I love seeing what other people have to say, whether they agree with me or whether they challenge my beliefs, because that is the nature of discourse, isn't it? And anyway, I'm glad you agree with me. I mean, you didn't know you were agreeing with me, right? Because your comment wasn't a reply to me, it wasn't a reply to the post, but I saw it and I was like, yeah, I agree with this. But even if I didn't, I would take you up on your points intelligently and respectfully. Then Nakia Hicks, publicist, producer, beauty founder, and restaurant owner, made in Harlem, responded to me. Something you should keep in mind, enrollment in HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, have increased 20% since 2022 and another 7% in 2023. Yes, I know. I've done a couple of videos on this subject, the HBCUs, and I had a lot to say about them and some stuff you probably wouldn't want to hear about how I believe that A lot of students are being exploited by these institutions, selling them bogus degrees in critical race theory and gender studies that are not going to land them jobs sufficient enough to pay off that student debt. They're basically debt traps, these institutions. But I'm not saying everybody who goes to one of these HBCUs is falling for that. Some of them are actually studying worthwhile courses that are going to lead to gainful employment, that will allow them to pay off those degrees. But if you look at the statistics, unfortunately, a very high percentage of students don't complete their courses and end up in persistent debt, and the debt collectors are incredibly aggressive. She goes on to say, "We have our own institutions that foster black genius and legacy. We do not inflate the importance of the white man's educational institutions, cultural or proximity to them." No, neither do I. So when you're having these discussions, please do so with that understanding. I actually feel very sad to see ethnic groups with such rich history strip themselves of their culture, be ashamed of their food, language, features, etc., but love the white man. Yes, I think that's shameful too. Harvard can't do anything about that self-loathing, so don't worry about us or basketball. Focus on pride. No, I'm not worried about the basketball thing. I was just pointing it out that some groups are naturally gifted in certain areas and other groups are naturally gifted in other areas. But I totally agree with you. I don't think we should hold these lame-ass institutions in such high regard, because they're failing us. I mean, the fact that they fell for all this DEI nonsense and restricted access to some of the very brightest candidates based on their skin color says that these are lost institutions. And ironically, most Asian American applicants were unaware of this entire DEI process hampering their access, because they applied anyway, right? You know, every year a whole ton of Orientals apply to get in, and they will apply either way to all the top universities which their parents hold in such high regard. And many failed to get into Harvard under the last admin, and they went elsewhere. But the applications continue, they're continuing now, but now they're getting in again. And if it was up to me, Orientals would take their money elsewhere. They didn't want us when it was politically convenient to reject us. So now they're inviting us back again. Now they need us, they need our money. And I just think we should take our money elsewhere because we don't need them. I almost wish Harvard kept its DEI policies and continued churning out less capable grads, and the value of the Harvard name will have declined, and their fees too. The fact of the matter is, our people don't need Harvard. We have the brains and the work ethic to succeed, and we don't need that Ponzi name. And we also don't need to work for corporations that hire on that basis, you know, that put the Harvard name above other factors in recruitment. When I worked in recruitment myself in mainstream media here in the UK, we valued real world experience and initiative over academic qualifications. And we didn't care what university you went to or whether you had a university degree at all. It was much more important that you were able to demonstrate your passion for media and your initiative, and you could do so by just undertaking your own projects in your free time. You didn't need to pay some institution for that. And I think as a graduate and as an employee, you'll be happier working for a corporation that recognizes your abilities and prioritizes that over your qualifications, especially which institution you got those qualifications from. And the sad reality is, with the advent of AI, the value of these degrees is rapidly declining, and the Harvard name is going to be meaningless. And I think these institutions know it, and they're scrambling for your money right now, but you're better off spending it elsewhere. Instead of paying for the rest of your life for some useless degree, you're better off focusing on vocation and real world skills that are going to help you actually find work. So Nakia Hicks, I agree with you. A Harvard degree doesn't mean shit to me. And all people in these comments getting all upset over it, don't worry about it. Save your money. And I'm glad you are a publicist and a producer and a beauty founder and a restaurant owner, and you were made in Harlem and you didn't need that bullshit. Good on you. I am all about ethnic minority empowerment, as are most conservatives. If you just scratch beneath the surface of all the lies that you're told by those white liberal saviors who want to keep you down. But what do you think, you guys listening to this? Let me have your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with me? And I don't mind either way. I'm open to all opinions, and I'm not going to attack you and call you names. I can't guarantee that other people in my comment section will, but I don't think they will, because I love the fact that I have kind, intelligent followers from both left and right who engage respectfully with opposing viewpoints. And this is what we're all about here. I just want to bring back old school, intelligent, respectful debate. So once again, please like, comment, share, engage, help my video get seen. And if you're not already doing so, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.